Hey guys, I know it has been a while since I've made a video. We've been really busy, the kids have been sick, I've been sick, and for the past week I've been debating on making this video because I didn't really know the words to say or even how to go about it, but it's something that I believe that God has placed on my heart for a reason, and I know that it's for somebody. Something that I had struggled with for a really, really long time, and it's just dealing with my scars, and I'm not talking about physical scars or anything like that. I'm talking about emotional scars. I'm talking about that scar that was placed on your heart when that boy or girl broke your heart, when you lost a family member or friend and you just felt like the world was over. These scars, these wounds that we have on our heart begin to just accumulate from the time, from when we can understand anything until now. And as we grow up, we do begin to get a lot of scars. We've been hurt before. We know the feeling. And some of us have so many that we just don't even tell people about. We don't talk about it because if we were to talk about it, people would look at us different. They would think that, oh man, they've been through such a tough life, and they'd kind of play the sympathy card with us. And that's a really hard thing. It's hard to hold all that stuff in. And when I was 14, I was thrown into my first public school, and I was teased, and I was called names, and it hurt me. And each time I was called a name, it was a scar that was placed on my heart, whether it be teeny tiny or humongous. But it caused me to be anorexic and bulimic, and I was cutting myself, and I thought so many times about suicide, but it was because of my scars, the things that I held with me all the time, that I would wake up and I would remember the pain, and I'd go to bed and I'd remember the pain. And even until, after I was married, I was still, hurt sometimes, and it was still a scar. And we all have these scars. Now, whether it be from, a breakup or, something so small to something so big. And I'm going to be real with you, being raped or molested or taken advantage of, that is a huge scar that is placed on your heart. That is something that you wake up with and you go to sleep with because you can't forget that pain. You can't forget the hurt and the heartbreak of it. And after a while, your heart begins to accumulate so many scars that it's nothing but this big scar tissue that you carry around, this big weight that you carry around. And you feel like you're dying inside, like you can't function anymore. And I know that because I've been there. I remember in 2008 when my heart was broken so badly that I laid on my parents' couch and I cried to the point where I could not even breathe. And I said, why would God do this to me? Why would He make me hurt? Why do I have to suffer? And I know that so many times that we all question that. Why we have to suffer? Why we have to hurt? Why is it all the time that our heart is taking these scars, and even some of them are open wounds? We haven't found the strength to close them. We can't forget it. And that saying that time heals all wounds, and I believe that that's true to an extent. I believe that within time a scar will begin to diminish, it will begin to fade, but we will still feel that pain. We still remember that pain. It doesn't just go away. It's a process. It's a long process. But I wanted to tell you, because I believe that this is for somebody, that we just celebrated Easter. And what was accomplished on that cross over 2,000 years ago was for you. That as He walked down the street to go to that cross, He could have turned around and He could have said, you know what? I don't want to do this. I don't want to suffer. I don't care. But He didn't. He saw you 2,000 years down the road, and He said, I see that person hurt. I see that person carrying so many scars that I want to do this so they could know freedom, so they could know how to be healed. A God much bigger than we are looked down on us and said they need somebody. He knew that we were going to need somebody. You can't do it alone. You can't close up scars by yourself. I tried so many times. And I remember one day 2 years ago, I woke up in the middle of the night and I said, I can't wake up anymore crying. I can't wake up anymore screaming because of my scars. Because even from when I was itty bitty, a scar that was placed on my heart is still there. We don't forget the pain. We don't forget the suffering. And sometimes it gets easier. Sometimes it just goes to the back of our mind. But I want to let you know that if you're struggling with an emotional scar, if you're struggling with something that you feel like you can't get rid of, that you are stuck and you are going to hurt for the rest of your life, I want to let you know that there is somebody that is bigger than we are. They can take your heart and begin to mold it back into this beautiful work of art that God created. Life isn't always easy. Life is tough. Life is hard. God never promised it to be easy. And guys, to be real, we're going to get scars on our heart from time to time. We're going to suffer from time to time. You're going to have a heartbreak from time to time. But God made a way for us to be free, to know healing. And when I woke up that night, I was crying, and I can remember the pain. I can remember the nightmares and the fear and everything that had happened, and it seemed like Satan would just bring it to my mind, and I would remember everything. And I remember sitting in bed, and I said, God, take it. It's not mine anymore. Take it, because you're the only one who can mend my broken heart back together, who can bind up my wounds and set me free. And I'm telling you guys, from that moment on, it's been different. It doesn't matter what's happened in your past. It doesn't matter what you've suffered in your past, whether you've been molested, whether you've been raped, whether you've been done wrong, or you've been called fat all your life or ugly. Let me just tell you that God doesn't make anything ugly. God doesn't make any mistakes. You are not a mistake. You are here for a reason, a divine reason. And He has a plan and a purpose for your life. So these scars, don't let them define you. Don't let them control your life. Because what Satan uses against you, God will use for good. And I believe that this is for somebody, and I believe that right now you're suffering with a scar. You're suffering with a really big wound on your heart, and you are dying inside. But I want to let you know that the same God who raised Lazarus from the dead, the same God that cast demons out of the man in the graveyard, is the same God who can begin to mend your heart back together, who can take all that pain and get rid of it. You're never going to forget. It's just going to take time. It's going to get easier. Your life is going to get easier. He has a plan and a purpose. So I ask you, if you do have scars, that guys, it's okay. But give it to God, because He's the only one who can mend it back together. He created it. He can mend it back together. Because remember, what Satan uses against you, God will use for your good. I hope this helps somebody. I love you guys. Sorry it's been so long since I made a video. Share if you care. I hope you guys have an awesome Tuesday. I love you guys. Bye.